and welcome to another episode of our WCNfluencer podcast. I'm your host, Christopher McClellan, and I have a very special guest today, Scott Lamphere. And Scott, guess people are wondering if we go to the same barber.
Well, I would say it wouldn't take too long to figure out that we probably do.
so I guess it's safe to say that the bald-headed guys have it today. Really, but Scott, it's great to meet you. We're just kind of getting to know you, but I know you've got some wonderful products through Germs RX. So I'm going to just kind of open the microphone up and have you do a little bit of a quick bio and tell us about Germs RX.
Well, I'm based in the Phoenix area. I've been here all my life, which is more than a little while. I graduated college here, and Arizona's my state, and we were talking about sunny, and so it's obviously 100 and whatever today, like every day in the summertime. But the reason I got into this business was my roommate from back in the day in college was on his third different kind of cancer, and he had no immune system basically. So when the pandemic was around in 2020, at its height, and everybody was trying to figure out what to do, I was trying to figure out some products that would make him safer, because going out his front door was a mission impossible, right? You know, everything's
Right.
trying to harm him. And so the more I dug, the more I found out there was a bunch of bad for you products, either toxic chemicals, or they didn't last long, or it just was unsatisfactory of everything that you can go buy traditionally. So the more I dug, I finally found a manufacturer that in the United States that did it right. They have a whole bunch of patents. They have some really smart people, but more importantly, they're trying to help people. So that's kind of talking my language. That's being a service is what I try and do. And so a profound difference is our products are water-based and not chemical-based. And everything's FDA approved or EPA registered, depending on, again, which products you're talking about. But like an alcohol-based sanitizer, we've all heard of them, and we don't like them anymore because we've used them for a couple of years now. We didn't ever heard of a hand sanitizer before. Did you?
Right.
Did you ever use one before 2 or 3 years ago?
Probably not. It's, COVID changed a lot of that for everybody, a lot of more awareness, but
And so the water-based is truly, it feels different, and we're able with our, here's a big word for you, nanotechnology. What the heck is nanotechnology?
what is nanotechnology?
So a meter is basically 3 feet. So if you take 3 feet and divide it by 1 billion, not a million. When we were kids, microns were a big thing, right?
Right.
Well, that's a millionth of a meter. Now we're talking about a billionth of a meter. So that's 1,000 times smaller than that. So that's the type of technology that we're able to use now. So when people put on my product and it's working, they go, Scott, I don't know. I think you just gave me water to use because I can't feel anything. I said, well, isn't that terrific? Science is pretty cool sometimes.
I remember as a kid going into the doctor's office, and I don't think it's as prevalent today as it was back then in the 60s, but you'd walk into the doctor's office and there'd be these tremendous chemical odors that you would take in, because they were always trying to, sanitize and clean something, but not, I don't know, you tell me, but I think sometimes when we smell those odors, like some of the products that are available even today, we think that's an instant benefit, but I don't think that's always the case.
Well, what causes odor at the base are bacteria. There's hundreds of different kinds of bacteria, but that's the basis of where odors come from. And having a chemical smell isn't per se a bacteria smell. It could be just a chemical smell. But every product that you've ever used, whether it's bleach, when I was a kid, mom killed everything with bleach, right?
Right.
And you say, oh my gosh, that's so caustic. You need to wear a mask and wear gloves because you don't want to get it on you and all that good stuff. And we just thought that was normal because that's what we had. But Now, because of how germ cells work, they become resistant to something that is being used against them all the time. So now there are several strains of bacteria that say, "Hey, talk to the hand. I'm resistant to bleach now." That's a scary thought because, like I said, bleach is very powerful.
That would be a very scary thought if something's resistant to bleach.
Yeah, and so and the other thing that we never realized is when it dried. I don't care if you use Pine Sol or whatever you use now or bleach or when those products dry, there is zero residual benefit. You did kill germs when you applied it, but you have zero working after it dries. And everybody says, "Oh, smell that pine smell." That's just a fragrance they put in the product. That's not doing anything.
And then, and I would imagine that because I think we've all experienced this, or we've used a hand sanitizer and we dutifully wipe our hands and clean our hands, and then there's that residual stickiness
Yep.
that lingers afterward. It's like, why did I even do this?
Well, that's the manufacturer knowing that the alcohol dries out your skin. So they're trying to put a lubricant into the product to put on your hands to see if they can make them less dry so you get a residue. But again, when the alcohol dries, which is what, 20, 30 seconds, you feel like your hands are sort of dried from the alcohol. I mean, you don't
Right.
feel, uh, you have no more protection from germs. So, when you think about scenarios that are happening all across this country and the world, the number one question is always, what are we having for dinner, Mom? So mom loads up the kids in the car and goes to the grocery store. When they get in the parking lot, they all stick out their hands to get lubed up, right?
Right.
And by the time they hit the front door, it's dry and they don't have any more protection than they did before they put it on. They did kill germs partially. I know it says 99.9 on the bottle, but nobody tells you that you need to keep the product wet on your hands for 60 seconds. Nobody does that because everybody doesn't like the alcohol, so they're always waving their hands or sometimes even trying to rub it off. So they're only getting a partial germ kill and not the close to 100% that they're advertising. So practical application, you're not getting what you think you're getting.
Hey, I'm Kim, co-founder of Whole Care Network, and I wanted to give you a deeper look at some of these incredible products that Scott and Chris are talking about. So this is the hand sanitizer, and this one, as you can tell, much lower. When Scott sent this to me, we started using this is the foaming sanitizing hand soap. We love this in our household. I love how clean it feels. I'll show you the hand sanitizer. First of all, that feels much lighter than the really greasy alcohol-based hand sanitizers. When it goes on, it doesn't feel slick and slimy. It feels clean and there's no smell to it. It just starts to dry really quickly and you feel like you've cleaned your hands, like you've washed and dried them instead of rubbed something all over them. And it's amazing to know that these last much longer. As Scott will talk about in just a second, they put a layer on your hand that your skin does not absorb, but it just sits on the surface and it actually creates a shield against additional bacteria, and that is fantastic. So, as a mom to two twin girls, these products make me feel very confident for us to use them and be much more protected than perhaps we are with those alcohol-based sanitizers that we've been using for years, and these work so much better.
And I guess for a novice like me, and of course, COVID really has educated a lot of people, but maybe not everybody, on germs can be everywhere and how to be more cautious. I don't know if it would be the right word, but
Sure.
and to clean up after yourself and to be mindful of how you're using your hands and cleaning your hands because that germs are everywhere.
And so if how our science is the nanotechnology is amazing is that what we do is we're actually killing the germs, or a better description of it is destroying the germ. We're not
Right.
just, you think of it as being obliterated per se. So what our products do is that on that microscopic nano level, that we create a flexible barrier on your skin with the hand sanitizer, and it doesn't penetrate the dermis or the skin. It stays on top. So it's very important that when you're not absorbing anything
It
that,
stays
that
on top of the hand. It
right.
doesn't.
So
Okay.
exactly. And so when a fancy word pathogen comes down, which is
Yeah.
the definition of a pathogen is just a germ that can make you sick.
Ah.
So that's a
Okay.
virus or a bacteria or a fungi or mold or whatever. It's a germ that can make you sick. So that's a pathogen. So now you can talk like a fancy guy here. And so when the pathogen comes in contact with the barrier, it gets destroyed by the physical properties of the barrier on a, again, microscopic tiny way, and it just does it over and over and over. So with that 30-second benefit you got from the alcohol based, ours will last up to 4+ hours, and it doesn't wash off with soap and water. So you have something that you can't feel, can't smell because there's no fragrance to it, and it has a very slight touch of aloe in it, so it moisturizes your hands naturally. So in the course of 2 or 3 days of using this, your hands will get back to normal
I think one of the most important things that you just said there was that lasts for 4 hours.
or more. It just depends on everybody sloughs dead skin cells at different rates. So if you're a very fast metabolic person that sloughs their skin cells faster, then you'll get probably around 4 hours. But if you are a little bit slower, you're going to get more, just because eventually you'll get enough left of the barrier to not hang on anymore, and that's what determines. I have lots of studies that say longer, but the FDA will take the least common denominator, right, and say, okay, that's
Right.
what you can tell people that you can last. So, like
Sure.
the University of Arizona did a study on people with our hand sanitizer, and after 4 hours, they could not find any trace of the virus. So they didn't go longer than that because that's where the FDA said that they wanted them to stay. But so they get what they call a full log destruction, which means 99.999, and you don't ever see that in those type of experiments.
Oh goodness. So tell our viewers and our listeners about all the products that you have in your arsenal.
Well, they all come with the. I have the buzzword that we is patented and trademarked is called Zetrasil, and that's the microscopic formula that is proprietary to our products that allows us to, because there are other products that have you can't patent ingredients, right? And you can only patent
Right.
formula. And
Hmm.
so they can't do the same thing we can. So we use that Zetrasil in a wound care product, and you know, I can't say enough good things. My experience with it personally is I healed from several different things that I've used it on 40 to 50% faster. Because what it
Right.
does is it kills all the germs in the wound, whether it's a cut, scrape, burn, whatever. And it puts on a microscopic nano silicone shield on it, so no more germs can go in there. So if your body says, "Oh my gosh, I don't have to worry about any infection fighting or anything, I'm just going to heal," it does it pretty darn fast. So there's the wound care. We have laundry additives, so we can put this type of thing in your clothes, so it'll fight germs. You want to see a happy mom open a gym bag, especially like a hockey bag back east,
You're
and
talking my
when the
language with hockey now, so
yeah,
it's
so
good.
when you open that up, the stench is amazing, right?
I remember the days.
So if I can spray something in there and kill the bacteria, I will kill the odor, and it will not have a odor to it anymore.
Hi,
Again,
it's me again. So Scott just talked about some different products that come from My Shield, and he had also sent me the wipes. I had read some research on these that when they wipe surfaces with these wipes, No pathogens will grow for 3 weeks after that surface has been wiped with this wipe, which I just thought was incredible. And as a former scientist looking over the data, the research was done really well and the results were phenomenal. I'll show you one of these wipes. I have an AC unit in my house that just has some dirt and grime and a little bit of mold growing on it because, things get moist. And I thought, what if I use some of these wipes on this AC unit? They're very soft. They feel really great. So I took some of these wipes and I just rubbed down the AC unit. I actually took like a knife and wrapped this around the knife and got in all the grooves, and it cleaned everything so easy. Nothing was left behind. One of the best cleaning products I've used. And that was 6 weeks ago. Nothing has gotten onto those surfaces still. There's no dirt, no little tiny like pieces of mold, or nothing has grown. So this had really had put a really great layer on that. So wiping the down your surfaces with the My Shield wipes is phenomenal. These things have such a long protection. These products are just so great and so incredibly safe, especially for those of you who are caring for aging loved ones or anyone whose immune system is a bit weaker because of any kind of illness or disability that they're going through. You can rest assured that these water-based products are going to be very, very safe for your loved ones. So definitely look into the hand sanitizer, the foaming hand soap, the wipes, and the wound care products that he talked about.
Too. It's very, very important. Everything we do is water based.
Right, and I think that's you were kind of reading my bald head, and that's where I wanted to kind of go back to and again emphasize the difference between an alcohol-based product and a water-based product, and why it's so advantageous.
Sure. Well, the again, the longevity of a, I'm not saying the chemical based product doesn't kill germs. It does.
Hmm.
But once the product dries, there's no residual value. So if you might say it might dry in 2 to 4 minutes,
Yeah,
that it's killing germs. But some little guy, some toddler come in there from being outside and going into the bathroom, he's tracking whatever in there, and you're not protected from germs. So our antimicrobial product, as an example, um, this is going to kind of sound like Star Trek-ish, but it will, per the EPA, says that it'll last up to 28 days without reapplication. So it doesn't mean you don't have to clean anymore, but in between cleanings, you have a base product that antimicrobial that is destroying germs when that comes in contact, whether it's the floor or the towels or the countertop or the toilet seat, whatever it may be, and it keeps going. So I'll go back to that toddler example. He may have a whole pile of clothes that's muddy and dirty and everything. So
right,
that's kind of covered up. So you need to uncover the floor again. So you clean that, and so the
right.
base germ fighter is still there doing its thing, but now you're letting it coming in contact with the germs again. Did that make sense?
It makes sense.
So let's see what else. You can take the two things that are amazing is we have sanitizing wipes. So we have a travel size, which is probably about yay big, and we
Okay,
have a full size. And the sanitizing wipe, again, water based. It has no smell to it. You can rub it anywhere on your body. It's good to go. Just don't eat it, as I tell
just
people.
don't
Other than
eat it,
that,
and would it say don't flush it either? Is it biodegradable?
no, well, yeah, it doesn't. It's not for that, but it won't clog anything. But I wouldn't
Yeah.
suggest that's the
I wouldn't
normal way to
suggest
do
it's not because sometimes it's just kind of easy just to throw it there, but
it.
that's
Sure.
we
Well,
don't want to do
I'll go
that.
back to that busy little toddler again. So before he goes outside, you rub his arms or any exposed places that he's going to be playing, and you rub down like say he's not outside, he's inside, he's at his play table or whatever it may be. You wipe that down, you'll have 4 hours or more of bacteria and virus free environment that you can not have to worry about anymore. And again, it's water based, so that's what's
Safe.
caused it. I think every parent and grandparent in the country needs to have these things because it is so amazingly efficient. It will remove fentanyl. And you know what a crazy buzzword that and
Yeah.
deadly in all kinds of forms that we have in our country now is that that's how efficient these things are. And then the same thing, I have a body spray that does the same thing. So for like sports teams, like your granddaughter or daughter is in soccer, spray her arms and legs and face and legs, and she's good to go for the match, and you're not gonna have to worry about her.
What a wonderful array of products that you have that are not only good for the environment, but good for our health and well being. So, goodness. So, Scott, let all of our viewers and our listeners know where they can purchase.
Well, you can first of all you can email me at myshield myshield at germsrx.com, and our website will be up pretty soon, but it'll be under www.germsrx.com. And our toll free number is 888 GermsRx or 437 6779.
And we'll have all this very important information available in our show notes and in our landing page on the Whole Care Network for Germs RX. And Scott, it's just
Well, I was going to show you. Here's the average. It's an 8-ounce bottle of the hand sanitizer. There's about 250 pumps in this bottle. So if you literally do this twice a day, you'll get through the day. And so you divide 250 by 2, that's 125. And if I round down, that's 100 days. You'll get 3 months of protecting yourself for about $6 plus shipping and handling. But
uh,
that's we're trying to make it so price is not a barrier to becoming safer.
I mean that is a great deal, and the turnaround time from order to receiving it in the home
5 to 7 days.
5 to 7 days. No,
Well,
and
now that
all that
UPS is not
information is going to be
correct.
readily available right on your landing page and on your website as well. But Scott, you're just doing terrific work.
Well, you know, I learned something a long time ago is customer service is hard work, but it's not hard work if that's what you believe in because being a service not only generally makes you a more successful person, but it feeds the soul a little bit, I believe.
Right.
And so I'm in a makeshift because I helped move my son out of my house this weekend. So I'm kind of discombobulated, but I have a saying is if you help enough people get what they want, you get what you want. And
And
so,
that's why we are aligned in our philosophies about helping others and being there to share our knowledge and experience to make life better for everyone. So, Scott, with the great work that you're doing at Germs RX, you are certainly a WC influencer.